Greetings YouTube and welcome to the Blue Corner and to a special video on the channel. Just yesterday a game came out that I've been really ecstatic to play again, and that is The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel, and this time it is the Decisive Edition. This is the PlayStation 4 remaster of Trails of Cold Steel, which was initially a PlayStation 3 and PS Vita game, which I already got admittedly, but this version comes with some extra goodies, and I'm just trying to support Falcom any way I can so that we can improve the chances of getting things like Trails of Cold Steel 4 and the eventual East 9. So anyway, we're going to be doing an unboxing of this product, and for good measure, I've got my lucky Estelle card from Lord of Vermilion that I've been using as a token field marker in Yu-Gi-Oh! And Vanguard. And I'm also doing this on my custom-made Trails playmat that I use for said card games, because I figured, you know what, if you're going to have a custom playmat, why not shout out something that's a little bit on the obscure side? So we've got Estelle and Joshua on the playmat, and I do believe the Estelle is in the background. Yes. And somewhere off in the corner it looks like I have a Orbital Quartz. Like, you have no doubt seen this background image online elsewhere. So yeah. So anyway, as far as people who are unfamiliar to what this series is, the Trails series is part of a greater series called Legend of Heroes, which is part of another series called Dragon Slayer, and the Trails sub-series consists of 9 games, starting from Trails in the Sky all the way up to Trails of Cold Steel 4. And they are 9 games, but they're considered 3 arcs. You've got the Sky arc, the Crossbell arc, and the Cold Steel arc. The Sky arc is 3 games, Crossbell is 2, and Cold Steel is 4. Crossbell is not out in North America, so there's a little bit of like a gap between the third Trails game, the third Sky game, and the first Cold Steel. But what's interesting about the overall narrative of this franchise is that despite there being 9 games, all the time that passes between them is about 5 to 6 years as far as lore goes. Like, you have the Sky trilogy, which takes place over the course of, I want to say, a year and a half, I believe so, and then you've got the Crossbell games, which take place pretty much after the third. But the interesting thing is that while those games are going on, this is also going on. So even though this is the 6th game of a 9-part series, it takes place alongside and during and after Game 4. And then you've also got Cold Steel 2, which takes place during Game 5, and then it takes place after Game 5. So even though we are missing out on 2 games in the narrative as far as like Japanese to English localization goes, you can still play this game and keep up because it's its own contained little thing. Like, it takes place in a different part of the setting that these games take place in, called Zemuria. It takes place in a country called Erebonia, and it's very different in its landscape and how things are done compared to Liberal here or Crossbell. And the reason why these games are so very appealing to at least someone like me is that they are basically a JRPG fan's JRPG series. These games as a whole take elements from JRPGs such as Suikoden, Grandia. You've got little elements of Persona, Final Fantasy, a little bit of Tales of. Basically, if you love JRPGs, then these games are really worth looking into. They're also pretty like not dialogue heavy, but they're like very intense as far as world building goes. Makes sense, it's a 9-part game series that takes place over 5 years. And like the first game of the Sky and the Cold Steel part, they're a bit on the more slower side. They don't really pick up until, I want to say, 20 hours into it, but that's because they're also setting the groundwork for the remaining games. And once you get past like that initial hurdle as far as the Sky 1 and Cold Steel 1 goes, you're in for a hell of a ride. Like, once the action picks up in this game, you don't want to stop playing, and turns out there's 3 more games waiting for you if you get that. Granted, we're only getting the 3rd game this year in North America, and the 4th game is still up in the air, but I'm hoping we'll actually get that so we can actually finish this thing. And yeah, that's like enough of me trying to like pitch this, so let's actually get into this and see what we get. So on the back, they tell you all the little goodies you get out of this. So what's new to this version of the game is we get a stunning HD graphics, now at 4K resolution and 60 FPS. So basically, even though these will be PlayStation 3 and Vita character models and backgrounds, they'll be upscaled a little bit. And it'll be running at 60 FPS, which is something I'm looking forward to, because I've only played these games on the Vita, and I have noticed that they were a bit choppy on that. Let's see, new audio features. So we get the option to switch these games to Japanese voiceovers if you so wish. There's a couple voice actors that I think I remember hearing in here. I want to say that one of the characters is voiced by the guy who does Ing in Super Robot Wars OG the second, Ing Egret, the guy who pilots the God, what's that thing called? The EX X-Bind. There we go, that guy. And one of the other characters who uses a shotgun is voiced by the same guy who does Meijin Kawagugi III in Gundam Build Divers, also Kaya Toshiki in Card of Vanguard. So we got that, and then as far as the dub side goes, the dub as a whole is actually pretty good for this game, and we get more dialogue, because there's a thing I noticed when I was playing Cold Steel and Cold Steel 2 is that you would have these voiced cutscenes, but the main character himself would not actually be voiced. You'd have all the side characters do their thing, but Reen here wouldn't actually, like, you wouldn't hear what he's saying, and that was just a thing from, like, the original version. So they've actually added in more voice acting into the English release. Let's see, we also get all DLC bonuses, optimized interface, and more. So what they're meaning is that the original Cold Steel and Cold Steel 2 had DLC such as extra costumes, cosmetic things, access to the hidden enemy called Shining Palms, which were just your, what are they called? Metal slimes from Dragon Quest, those kind of enemies. So that's already included into the game. They've also added in a turbo mode, which allows you to speed up fighting in the game, as well as just navigating the overworld, which is good for anyone who's like played this once already. And we get some neat stuff inside too. If it's anything like the original Sky game here, you get some extra goodies. Unfortunately, I lost the pin I got from my Sky, but I still have the CD and the map. So let's dive in here. Alright, so careful, I don't want to damage the box. Alright, so let's see. Okay, so there's something underneath here, so I'll have to go underneath to grab this. Pull this out. Careful, careful. Okay, so what do we get? So we get the musical selection. So we get the soundtrack, which is pretty good because Falcom's OSTs are godly. And we get... Okay, so this is the reason why this took like an extra month to get here. So they've given us a replica of the in-game currency of this series. So Mira. So this is a 50 Mira. Yeah, it's like the equivalent of 50 cents, I think. Most stuff in the game costs like hundreds of Mira, so this isn't really much, but it's still really cool that they've actually gone to the trouble of actually making like currency from the games in here. And then like the game itself, they've given us a hard steel case, just like with the special edition of Final Fantasy XII. So we got Reen here, and we've got... so they're actually kind of spoiling the second game here. Anyway, we've got the main characters, there's something in the background. Crack this open, and we have our instruction manual. Oh, it's an actual instruction manual. Okay, I was half expecting it to just be like those half-assed manuals that you get with other stuff. And is this... Oh, it's colored too. Oh, hey, we get a comic. Cool, I'll have to check this out later. Granted, I already know like how the system in this game works, but... Oh yeah, right, that's a thing I remember here too. So apparently, for this game, you can actually upload your save data from your Vita or your PlayStation 3 versions of the games that you've already played, and then just continue what you've been doing on there. You can't transfer from PlayStation 4 back to the Vita or PlayStation 3, but basically if you've already beaten Cold Steel and Cold Steel 2 on the other consoles, you can just pick up where you left off. And if you're like me, you already have like a New Game Plus game going, which is a thing, by the way, is New Game Plus. Alright, here's your PlayStation 4 game, and let's just get this out of here so we can take a look at all the stuff in the background. So, here is your main cast. We've got, let's see here, we've got Reen, Laura, Alisa, Emma, Fee, Elliot is obscured by the spine, Crow, Gaius, Machias, Celine, the cat, she's with her, and we've got Jusis, and we've got the teacher, Instructor Sarah, who is a, what do you call them? I want to say Misato type. Like, she's a lot like Misato from Neon Genesis Evangelion, where she's your superior, but she's also a drunkard. Anyway, so that's what we get in here. All in all, not bad. I paid about, I think, $60 total for this, and I'm not really disappointed in what I got here. Especially considering it's like a PlayStation 4 game, and these things are usually 80 bucks, so it's not as bad as it could have been. So we'll put this back in here, slide this back in, and yeah, there we go. There we go. So these guys, yeah. When the second version of this game comes out, which is Trails of Cold Steel 2 Relentless Edition, I will try and do an unboxing of that, because just like with this one, you get some extra goodies. You get a hardcover case, CD, and you get a special pin. Let's see if I have it on here. So it'll be a pin very much like this, which I unfortunately lost. But in any case, yeah, these games are fantastic. I highly urge you to check them out. They're also available on Steam and are usually generally cheap. Yeah, so you've got the 3 Sky games and the first 2 Cold Steel games are all on Steam. And if you don't want to get them if you want to drop the extra money on this, you can go and get that one, because I believe basically all the stuff all the perks of the Steam version of this game is what they're doing here, plus some extra things. And I imagine the Steam version of Cold Steel is going to get like the other stuff that's in here. All you're really missing out if you pick up the Steam version is just like these little goodies I was going over. But anyway, I've gone on long enough. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if I can, I'll try and like get some stuff from Cold Steel on the channel. It depends if it will actually let me record anything off of here using my PlayStation 4's recording features. But anyway, that's all for now. Hope you guys enjoyed watching this, and until next time.